My name is Susan Stone, and I am a storyteller, but I'm also a grandma, a Jewish grandma. But I find now, after over 30 years of telling stories professionally, the most important stories I can tell are those from my life to my grandchildren. Most of us read books to our grandchildren, and I do too, on Zoom or in person. But psychologists, researchers have found that those children who hear family stories are more resilient, more emotionally available, and have more of a sense of self. And oh, the values you can transmit through your Jewish lens. Here's a quick primer of how to tell family stories to your grandchildren. Let me tell you a story. I told this to my granddaughters, my twin 5-year-old granddaughters, not that long ago. I pulled it out of my pocket when I needed it. When I was about your age, I said, 5 or 6, I went down the block with my mother, your great-grandma Sylvia, to the corner store. My mom went shopping, and I saw right in front of me a great big box of crayons, 48 crayons. I love to color just like you do, and we didn't have markers back then. I wanted gold and silver and magenta, crayons you couldn't get in a small box. And so guess what I did? I took it. I took the box and I put it in my mom's grocery bag. Well, when we got home, my mother found it and we marched right back to the store and returned it. And that's it. We never talked about it again. Well, when I told my granddaughters this story, one of them turned around to her mother and said, "Mom, Grandma stole a box of crayons." She was incredulous, but we never talked about it again. And I don't like to be a preachy grandparent. No one likes a preachy grandparent, so I try not to tell the moral of the story. But when I thought about it, I thought, that's a very Jewish story. I did something wrong. I made a mistake. I said I was sorry. I righted the wrong, and I was forgiven. And I never did it again. A very Yom Kippur story. Here are some tools for telling. You probably already do this. Try to have eye contact when you're telling a story. You might want to use some gestures. You might want to use an accent. You might want to sing a little song. You might want to think about how loud or how soft you're getting, or how fast or how slow you're getting. And remember to pause. Silence is important. We are creating images in our minds, and our listeners, our grandchildren, are creating images in their minds. We are co-creating the story together. We call that imagination. The two most important storytelling tools you can use, however, are presence and love. They know we're spending time with them, telling stories because they matter. Stories also include family folklore. Wonderful tchotchkes. I call this invested objects. What objects do you have in your home or do you wear in which you have an emotional attachment? Who gave it to you? Where did you find it? Why do you wear it? Why is it so important to you? And what was the person like who owned it? Secondly, ritual behaviors or actions. Every time my father came home from work, he would whistle, the same whistle, just like that. One day I thought to ask him, "Dad, why do you always whistle when you come home from work?" He told me a long story about a robbery in the laundry plant he and my uncles owned. And lastly, photographs. This is a photo, a copy, of my great-grandma Etta. My father remembers meeting her. He was 7 at the time. She came on a boat from Ukraine and took a train to Chicago. And he and his father, my grandfather, waited on the train platform. And when the train arrived and my great-grandma got off the train, my father told me he remembers his father racing down the train tracks to greet her. He hadn't seen her in 12 years. Grandchildren are curious. When they see that photo, they might say, "Why is she wearing a scarf? And where is Ukraine? And what language did she speak? Yiddish? What's Yiddish? And why did she come without her children? Why didn't they come with her in the first place?" Try and have a few stories in your pocket. Remember your tools for telling, and remember to tell family folklore. We honor our grandchildren when we tell them our stories. We say implicitly, "You matter. I love you. I am present for you." Happy storytelling, everyone.